Welcome to Crafty Saturdays with My Little Attic. I decided to start this. This will be a regular thing every last Saturday of the month for 1.5 to 2 hours, so that we can share with all of you new techniques or new materials or whatever. And it doesn't have to be necessarily Altenew. It can be other products as well. And I'm really happy. Like 50 plus people signed up for this free workshop, and it's so happy to see new names. It's just a way of sharing what we know and sharing our love for crafting, card making. And this will also include not necessarily only card making, but this will also include projects like involving fabric, because Altenew now carries a fabric line. If you haven't seen it yet, it's really, really pretty. Okay, so this will happen at the end of at the last Saturday of every month this whole year. And my design team members will be presenting or showing you or doing a demo of whatever projects they have in mind. And then I will have like a mini demo also after them. And if you want to craft along with us, I will be showing you the stamp or die or stencil that will be used for the next month. And if you want to join us, then you can pre-order the stamp set or whatever materials we will be using. So for next month, it's the, what do you call this? An artist collection. Cannot see it. I'll show it later. Ayan, there. Artist collection. It's so cute. This is the stamp set that we will be using next month. So if you want to join, please let me know by today so that I can order it. I need to order it by tomorrow. Hopefully it will be here before Daniel's class next month. Okay, so for those of you who are new here, I am Nanette Madero. I have been an Altenew educator since 2018, but a crafter for more than 20 years. So I love anything that involves paper, and my other love is to share what I know. So I'm really excited for this new venture of My Little Attic, so that we can share what we know, and it's like just so we can build our community. Okay, and I'm so honored that my first guest is also an Altenew educator. She's an entrepreneur, she's a mom, she's a wife, and a loving mom to 3 beautiful teenage girls. I will let her introduce herself. So please welcome Anna Matani.
Hi, everyone. Hi, thank you for having me. Can you hear me? Okay. Yeah, I'm Anna Matani, and I've been paper crafting ever since I can remember, but I got into card making about 5 years ago. No, 6 years ago. It just started with cutting paper and putting it on, no stamping. And then I was browsing through the internet looking for, materials, and I happened to stumble upon this website called My Little Attic, and I saw she had stamps. So I ordered an Altenew Spring Daisy stamp, I think it was. Yeah. And I remember this so distinctly because I entered my address, for delivery. And then she texts me back or emails me back and she goes, "I'm your neighbor." I'm like, what? As in, she lives right behind me. I can actually, she can actually throw the things across the balcony, and it'll be in my garden. So that's how, and it's a fortunate thing, but it's also unfortunate because now she's my enabler, right? It's so easy to just order stuff from her. Anyway, I became an Altenew educator last year. after 1.5 years of going through the program. I am also and I do guest designing for them as well. I'm also a design team in the design team of Hero Arts just recently. So those two companies have always been my dream to design for. And this year has been a good year because I fulfilled my crafty dream of being designers for those two really good companies. So I'm happy to be here, and I will start with, I'll start by showing you the card we're going to make today. It's very easy. It's a very simple technique, but it will give a different spin to your layered stamping. So I'll just switch to my camera, overhead camera, and we'll start the.
Is a completely round and fat bird with red eyes. It's covered in gold feathers.
Okay, so just switching.
Any direction.
There. Is it clear? Okay. This is the card we're going to make today. It's called, I call it no line stamping because this particular stamp set actually has an outline, but I wanted to create a different, softer look. So I layered it, but I did a technique where you can get this soft layering on that. And then I just heat emboss the details, gold heat emboss the details. So the stamp set we're going to be working on today is this called Golden Days. It's has one flower with 3 different layers. It has 2 kinds of leaves with 3 layers, and this leaf I think has 2 layers only, and it has all the little things to go in the middle and little tiny sentiments, and it has coordinating die. So anyway, I have here my Misti stamping tool, and we're gonna work with a 8.5 by 5.5 sheet of paper because this is the paper that I will use to stamp 2 flowers. So instead of using a smaller sheet and then just keep shifting it, we're going to just turn it around so that we can get 2 flowers with minimal effort. So we'll start out by laying out our stamps. Is there someone crafting along, or I'm just doing a demo? Is there anyone here? Can you put in the comments if you're crafting along so we know I don't go too fast or too slow?
Also, if you have any questions, just type your questions and then I'll read them out to Anna.
Okay. And if I'm going too fast, just let us know. Okay. So these are the outlines. I laid them out on the bottom half of the paper so that later on I can just, turn the paper around to get another cluster. So pick it up. So for this first outline, I'm using, actually you can use a light ink, Sun-Kissed. This is from the Warm and Cozy set. There's another color in this set. I can start with Sun-Kissed, which is the lightest, but just for demo purposes, I will start with the orange cream. And I will stamp out first, here, just move this, outline of the flower. If I want to go faster, I can just, use Misti more, which is from the Nature's Wonder set, and just also ink up the leaves so that it's all one effort. Now, this is just a guide, so you don't really have to be super perfect, because later on it will just fade into the background. That's the whole point of this particular technique. So I take the orange cream again. And then the Misti more. Okay, so now we have the outline. Now I don't have the coordinating stencils for this. This particular stamp set has, you notice it has these gaps, which will show the white paper. Now to avoid that, what I did was I took a blending brush, and I will just blend these, just sort of lay down some color so that when I stamp the layers, they're all monochromatic. They're all one color. So I get the orange cream, load up, just knock it off, and I just blend all around. Doesn't have to be perfect. You're just basically doing it around, because this one we're going to stamp later on, so it doesn't really matter. I just want to make sure that there's orange also where the white. So I just do that. Let me know if I'm going too fast, because I'm quite excited, so I might be going too fast. I believe we have some international participants. I'm not sure if they've actually joined in already, but we have a couple of international participants as well. Okay, so not much, just a little bit of ink. And then I get the marshland, which is the second darkest of the Nature's Wonder. And I'm going to do the same for the leaves. So this is, you can do this even if you have the stencil, like what Nanette's going to demonstrate later on. You can skip this part, because the stencil, I believe, has, does it, Nat, the one that does the overall stencil? You can just use, yeah, you can just use the stencil. But if you don't have the stencil, you can just do it this way. Okay. So there you now have this. I will replace the stamps with the second layer. Okay, that would be layer, sorry, that would be layer A2 for the flower. And C2, sorry, this one, B2 for one leaf, and then C2 for this. So this really saves time. If you use a big sheet of paper, you don't have to. So for this one, you just have to look at two areas, which is down here and right here on the side, on this side. So I just look to the side. And what I like about this particular technique is that since you're going to do soft, we're going to do soft stamping, we don't really need to be like super duper precise, because the point is it's just giving an overall color and depth. So I'll try to get it as close as possible. This is usually the most tedious part. Okay. So now we're going to work on the technique of blending the colors. Okay, we pick that up. Okay, let's start first with this stamp. Let me just move this a little bit so that you can see. Put a piece of paper. Okay. Now for this technique, there are several areas. It's more or less like a solid stamp, but I don't want to have all the areas stamped out because I want to leave some open spaces so that you can see the depth of the flower. So I will get orange ink, orange cream, and just ink up the middle part. Now, normally when you're using ink cubes, if you go like this, you'll get a lot of harsh, the lines of the cube. So what I do is I normally just sort of swipe it like this and then tap, but only in the middle part. Then I get a blending brush. You can use this blending brush, or you can use a finger dauber, or if you don't have any of that, you can actually use a microfiber cloth. Let's try it with a microfiber cloth. So I take the cloth and I just dab gently on the side of the stamp all over. What this does is it distributes the ink all over and gives it that soft look. Then I close it on the So if you can see here, I don't know if you can see it, it's very soft. And because you concentrated the color in the middle, you can see that there's now more depth to the flower. But I want to increase the color here, so I'll do it one more time. This time I'll go a little bit outside. And I will use a finger dauber, just so that you can see the effect. So what this does, it also lessens the harsh lines from the cube. Thank you. There. Okay. So now you can see has more depth. Now let's work on the leaves. So the leaves for the first layer, I used the second lightest color called Marshland. And I just, again, swipe it, then dab it. Swipe it, then dab it, just to remove the harsh lines of the. Then I could also just take out some color, the tips of the leaves, just for highlight. And then close. So it's a little splotchy, but the nice thing about Altenew inks, when it dries back and it's not so splotchy. But I want to add more additional depth. So what do? I get the next darkest color, Seed Forest, and I add it just at the very inner part of the leaves, right there. So you can see the harsh line of the cube. So I get my finger dauber and just soften it out. Soften it out. Then I just close it. There. So you'll see it's darker. It's going to be another layer here. So don't, even if you can see this of the cube, it'll dry back and it won't be seen. So let's do that again. This time I'll use this one. So you can see the different effects, middle. Then at the same time, I'll do this. So this one is what I use for, you can just dab it. This one I can just dab the top. Okay. Close it. I'll do it one more time so we get a deeper color. Swipe, dab. Swipe. Soften it with the blending brush. Then I'll add Sea Forest so that.
Anna, how do you clean your blending brushes?
With this microfiber cloth, I just spray it with water, and then I just do this.
Yeah.
And it's So easy to clean this once. Okay, that's all for this layer. Oops, I dropped my inks. Sorry. Okay, now just clean off my stamp. And for the flowers, we're just going to use one more color. Then I'll put the next. Okay. Okay, for the next one, now this leaf doesn't, this leaf has a second stamp, which is this one, and it has another stamp here. We're going to skip the next layer for this one. And we're just going to go for this one, it's B3. Then for the flower, we have this one, which is A3. So that's all we're going to use for this particular layer. Again, line it up, the corners here and here. Trying not to get my head in the way. Okay, and this one is here. Okay. So for this color, we're going to use the second to the darkest, Autumn Blaze. And this one, I will just do it in the middle towards this part of the stamp, because it will stamp this, which will give it additional depth. And for this mangrove root, I will use the darkest color. Then I'll use my blending brush, just distribute the ink. This one's a little dark, so I'm just removing some of the ink with the blending brush. It's always better to stamp light rather than too dark, and then you can't take the color away. So it's better you start very light and then here. So you can see how it's darkened a little bit. I'm happy with how this one looks, so I won't stamp another layer of that, but I want to darken this area a little bit more. So I take Autumn Blaze again. And there. Now you can see the depth of the flower. So I'll do the same on this side. Autumn Blaze. Mangrove root. Maybe another layer. Altenew has a lot of stamps that you can use this technique with. And just have to remember that you can just use the dauber to take away ink. There, it's done. for this layer. And the final layer is going to be, just to make it a little bit more special, we're going to gold heat emboss. Sorry, my cord of my, there. So we're going, the final layer, which is for the flower, it's the A4. And for the leaves, it's B4 and C3. And we're going to add anti-static powder. Now first we'll do the stamp, and then we'll do the anti-static powder. Any questions so far?
No questions yet.
Okay. Okay. This is the last layer. See, what's nice about this particular technique is that it's very, very forgiving. Like I really didn't, if you look really closely, actually you can't really see it. It's just a little bit out of the line, but because it's a soft blending, you don't really see it. Now, if you were doing the full blend, you will really, it's more noticeable.
Anna,
Yeah.
Richard is asking, why do you need to put anti-static powder?
Because we're going to heat emboss this. The last layer is going to be heat embossed. So anti-static powder helps in the embossing powder stick to only the places where you stamp and not everywhere else. So I just put that. This is actually just cornstarch. There. Then I use my Versamark ink. And I stamp it. Turn it around. Again. Are we okay for time? Stamp.
Yes, it's only 4:30.
Okay. There. I'm using antique gold, one of my favorite embossing powders from Altenew. I use it so much. I have to always have a steady supply. Sprinkle it. Off. Sprinkle. It off. See? Okay. Now we're going to heat emboss. There's some stray pieces of, there's some stray powder, stray embossing powder. So I'm just gonna brush it off. But I'm not also too concerned because, again, this is like loose watercoloring. It's good if you get stray because then it adds a little more. Okay, this is gonna be a little. I don't know if you can hear this, but heat up my heat gun. Now to heat emboss, I always start at the back to warm up the paper. And also it allows the embossing powder to stick. Because if I put it directly on top, because it's powder, it just might fly away before you can actually heat it up. So I always start in the back. It's also a good way to heat up your gun first before you take it to the front. And then you see it? Now nice and shiny. Okay, done. So now you can take the coordinating dies. Okay, there's a flat area here, sort of like a, usually I look for those spots to be able to line them up easily.
And now they're asking what paper are you using? What cardstock? Is it cardstock or watercolor paper?
I'm using cardstock. Actually, you can use Nina, the Nina, which is a 110 pound, but I'm actually using one that's locally available. I can show you later what the brand is because that's my go-to. It's sturdy, not for card bases, but it's sturdy and it's nice to blend and it's available in National Bookstore or online prestige papers.
Can you use watercolor with it too?
The problem with watercolor, I guess you can.
Yeah.
But it's a little rough, so maybe your stamping will be a little,
okay.
Yeah, it will be a little, what do you call this, textured, but it'll be a good look also. If you want to do it that way. It's another kind of look that you can go for. I actually have another technique using stamps and watercolor that will create the same similar look. Maybe in a future class I can teach that. Okay. Okay. And through the magic, I will already die cut some, so that you don't have to like wait for me to die cut and Okay, so here are the die cuts, and I will work on the embossed background, dry embossed background. So for this one, see here, Altenew has this beautiful 3D embossing folders, and this is one of my favorites. It's called Angled Mosaic. And I just take a piece of cardstock. If your cardstock has a tendency to crack, because some cardstocks do, like it's not a, I just I mist it with some water and then just very lightly, then put it through the embossing folder like this. This is the Angled Mosaic. I try to put it in the middle so that it's even on all sides. The patterns will be even. So if I have to trim it down, I can just trim it on all sides and it will be even. And then it depends on your die cutting machine and what sandwich it has. You run it through through the die cutting machine. And this is what it will look like. See, but to make it a little bit special, because what I did was I cut it down and I just pasted it on top of a card base. I wanted to add a little interest on the side. So just to match it, but first I will cut down my embossed background. Just cut it down to 4 by 5. I'm doing it on all sides so that it's even. Okay. So this is 4 by 5 and 1/4. Now to do this, all I need to do is get my Versamark ink. I just swipe the sides like this. You see? That will just take a little bit of ink. I'm not doing it this way because then it would go too much into the paper. And I just want that subtle hint of emboss, gold embossing. So I just swipe it this way. I didn't put anti-static anymore because I can just brush off the areas that it sticks to. Then I put some embossing powder here in my paper. I just take this and I just run it through that. See? You can see it's just a very subtle hint of gold all around. Take my gun. Again from the back. And this gun is a bit warm already, so it's faster. This is a good way of adding those little elegant touches to your card and also to match the sentiment that you're going to put or the details, the sequins. You can always match it with your embossing powder. Okay. So it's done. So I have my card base here. Now I want to do an arrangement. So usually before I always test arrange just to see how I want it to be done. And here, because I put so much effort, I want it to be the highlight of the card. So I want it to be in the middle. So I play around with it. I make sure that, you know, we can see the leaves. And I always try to see where I can put the sentiment. So I try to choose my sentiment already ahead of time so that at least I can see where in the placement, where in the card front I can put it. So in this case, since I already have a layout, I just need to follow it. And I'll tuck leaves under. This one, I'll put one on top like that. This way. And this one. I can put it. So I check if all is balanced, and I also reheat and emboss a lot of my sentiments so that I also don't. Here, I want this one here, so I can put it there. Just keep them in a little Ziploc bag, so if I need it, I can just get it. Okay, so I like my layout. I'm happy with it. So I get press and seal. I don't know if you're familiar with this, but it's like a type of saran wrap that you can buy. I got this in SNR. And there's a sticky side, and there's a, this is used in the kitchen to seal food, whatever, to keep it fresh. But here, actually, if you're familiar with Jennifer Maguire, her husband invented this. So I just put it down. And the nice thing is it sticks to this. And my layout stays intact. I turn it around. Then I add glue. For this one, I'm not adding dimension because the embossing folder already has a little bit of dimension. So you can see in this card, because of the embossing folder, it's already a little raised. So I don't want to add, I don't want it to be too bulky. So I just don't use dimensional tape for this. So I just add glue wherever I see. Yes, that. I don't put in the edges because I like it to stick out a little. So I just put it in the middle of all the elements. Then take this. It sticks. Then I hover over it. Sorry, I'm gonna make sure it's as centered as I can have it. Then press it down for a while until the glue sets a little bit. And that's it. It's done. It's glued in. So now I'll glue it, before I add the sentiment, I'll glue it onto my card base. Make sure it's opening the right way.
Yes, Richard, it's called press and seal. It's like
a saran wrap.
Yeah. But it's sticky on one side only. The other side is not sticky.
Yes, it's really, it's a game changer for me, especially if you're fond of embossing powder. Especially if you like doing a lot of arrangements on your cards.
Mm-hmm.
It's super duper handy.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I want to cut. Just make it a little bit smaller.
It's available. I've seen it in SNR.
Yes, it's available. Right? It used to be available in SNR.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's still there, but they should have it still.
Yeah.
It's not cheap, but you can use it for so many things. I mean, you can use it in the kitchen, and you don't really. You can use this probably 2-3 times, and it kind of loses its stick.
Unimart has it also now.
Oh,
Rhea said, yeah.
Okay, now.
Cash and Carry also has it. Thanks for sharing, guys.
Yeah. Okay. I'm going to add a dimension to this. We're almost done. Okay.
Let us know also in the chat box if there's anything you want us to demo for future classes. So
I'm changing the position of the sentiment only because if you notice, this flower is pointing down a little bit and there's a gap here. So I just put it there. It still more or less has the same look. Now I want to add some extras. So where did that go? I have here antique gold seconds, and I will just add a few probably in odd numbers. Normally that's how I would do it. I like to tuck some under. Now this one is a bit tricky because it's an embossed folder, so you have to find a nice spot for it where it doesn't sink in. I'll cut that under. There. I'm happy with it. Just get a little bit of glue. Side.
if Marie, if you want this stamp and die set, it comes also with the stencil. If you want the stencil, just let me know. Send me a private message so I can add you to the pre-order list.
This is one of those classic layering stamp sets.
Yes.
You know, really, it's like, it's not complicated to stamp with. I'll show you another sample of what it looks like when it's fully stamped out without this technique, just to show you what it looks. Oh, got stuck.
And you also don't need to use all the layers. You can just use the outline stamp.
Yes, and then you can color with it.
Yeah.
You can.
Yeah.
It's so versatile. I just love these kinds of stamp sets. Okay. Done. Let me hold it up. Set that aside. You can see how soft the stamping is. Now I'll show this, and I have another sample here for you to see how different it looks when it's fully stamped out. See? This one, I used obsidian black ink for the outline layer. And then I just used the same colors to stamp in the, I think I used a different green, didn't I? No, it's the same, for the leaves. But I didn't do any of that dabbing with a sponge dauber or blending brush. I just stamped it fully. I didn't even use the middle stamp because I felt that I wanted it to be, you know, as simple as possible. And this one, I used another embossing folder. It's called Herringbone. It's another really nice one. And for this, I wanted to, you know, follow the lines, you know, make it graphic in the background. So I used diamond frame for this in black. And I did the same layout thing, but this time I took into consideration this particular stamp set with die, which is the Essential Sentiment Strips. It's the Happy Birthday. And I just, it cuts out. Then I just put a white strip of cardstock behind it. I didn't embellish it anymore because I felt that there was a lot going on in the background already. So that's it for my 2 cards. If you have any questions, let me know.
Any questions, anyone? So pretty, Anna.
Thank you.
Love it, love them. Do you have any questions? Anyone? Pretty, pretty. If super nice.
Thank you. Thank you.
Super nice.
I hope you tried this. If you decide to try this technique, tag me on social media. I'm in Facebook, in Instagram, YouTube. I have a YouTube channel as well. I also set up a TikTok, but I don't even post there much. Just so that I'm with it. And then I also have an Pinterest, and it's all at Crafty Anna Studio. You can find and follow me there. And if ever you try this technique, please tag us. Tag Altenew, hashtag Altenew LLC, and at Crafty Anna Studio at my little attic. Thank you so much. Let me just move this up so that you can see my face. Thank you, everyone. I really enjoyed demoing this for you.
Thank you, Anna. Do you have any questions for Anna? Wait, let's go to gallery. Any questions, anyone? None? Okay.
I have a question.
Yes.
Nanette.
Yes, go ahead.
Hi, Anna. Those cards were gorgeous. I just want to ask, did you go light to dark, or is that the opposite when you did the second card? The one that you just showed with the obsidian.
Yes.
So light to dark,
Light
right?
to dark, yes. Always start with
Alright.
the lightest, and then the final layer would be the darkest color.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, any other questions? Next, can you switch to my desktop? If there are no questions, this is
Okay.
a bonus bonus project. My son will just switch to the desktop. This is also using Anna. The name of the stamp set is Golden Days, right? Golden Days stamp set.
Correct. It's Golden Days. Correct.
So the Golden Days stamp set has its own stencil, but it also has this what they call it, simple coloring stencil set. Can you switch to the tabletop camera, please? Oh, you have to remove my background.
I got it.
I'm so clueless, so I need my son to do it for me. Okay, here you go. There you go. Okay, so it has, it's called Golden Days Simple Coloring Stencil. It's a beautiful, beautiful 4-piece stencil. So you'll see here at the top, it's hard to see. There it's numbered. So there's 1, 2, 3, and 4. So all you need to do is start with number 1, of course. And this is how it looks like when you're done with it. Isn't it so pretty? Love, love, love this stencil. So what you do here, I'll just demo how to use it, because some people, I think some of you are new to layered stencils. So I'll show you how you can come up with this. So of course you start with 1, right? And then what I want to do is yes, it's a very, very pretty stencil. And it's a big, big one, so you can do a lot of things with it. So I just want to use washi tape and stick it down to my paper. Normally you use, since you have 4 layers, you use 4 colors, right? But for this particular flower, I decided not to use all the colors from one line. So I chose different pinks One is from Cherry Blossom, the other one is from Tea Party, and the third is from Rose Petal. But my base will be Distress Oxides. Okay, I love using Distress Oxides, especially for big coverage, because it's very smooth to add because they're pigment inks. So all you do, right, for your first layer is I use a sponge, pick up some ink, and then the beauty with this is, so you start from the outside, you make sure that all the edges are inked well. And since it's a pigment ink, it's very easy to apply, right? And don't worry about the marks if they're not evenly spread out, because you want that, because not all petals of flowers are perfect, right? Perfect or even. So you want those different variations. So I'm just adding color randomly and not evenly on purpose, right? You just want to make sure with this kind of stencil, you want to make sure that your edges are crisp. Okay, that's why I'm going from outside inwards. And add a little bit more in the middle. Don't worry if it's not evenly spread out. Okay. So that's your first layer. Before moving on to the second layer, let me add a little bit more here. I like to add some water. So I just wet my hand and then just add some droplets of water. And since oxide inks are reactive to water, because they're, after you leave it for about maybe 10 seconds, you see, I don't know if you can see this, but you see all these beautiful reaction to water. And after around 10 seconds, you just lift the water, dry it up.
Sorry, daughter, there's a question.
Yes.
What color is the DO?
Oh, it's worn lipstick. Worn lipstick. Okay. So you're done with the first layer. Okay. For this next layer, it's layer 2. This is layer 1. And then this one, you just clean with a damp cloth. And it just wipes away. Because since you're using dye inks, it's water-based, so it'll just wash off. Sometimes I like just to keep a basin of water, and I just dump everything there and then just clean up later on. Okay, so this is 1. And then layer 2, what you want to do with, so before we move on, what I like to do is keep the number on the upper left so that all the succeeding layers will be the same thing, your number upper left, right? And then you just line up the edges. So simple. Line up the edges here and here. Okay, and then everything else will follow. Just make sure they're lined up properly. And then tape it down again. I just use washi tape. And then for the second layer, I use the Coral Bliss. Okay. And then I'm using a blender brush for this because there are a lot of very delicate lines. You want to be careful. So pick up your ink, and then from the edge, I go from outside going in, right? If it's big space, then you can go circular. you can ink it circularly. But here, where there is like a lot of thin stencil, you can tap it or just brush it inwards. Okay. So with these smaller areas, you can just tap in the ink. They're very delicate, so if you just rub it, it might break it. So sometimes I like holding it down also to keep it steady. Here, since this is a big part, we can go circular motion. So you see from the stencil, I go outwards, right? Not the other way around. So from the stencil outwards to the paper. From the stencil to the paper. This is a really huge stencil. Very, very pretty layered coloring stencil. This part of the Golden Days release. Again, in the middle, since it's very thin, I just tap the color. Okay. And then just like we did with the other one, you don't really have to go to cover the entire petal. Okay, a little bit more here. And we're done with your layer number 2. Okay. So this is your second layer. Now, remember the second layer because your third layer will be on top of the second layer, not of the first layer. Okay. So this is your second layer. Just remember the outline of the second layer. And your third layer, number 3, make sure sorry, this is number 3. Number 3, make sure you're not looking at it from the other side, right? The opposite side. So number 3 is here. I'm lining up this part and this part with my second layer, which is there. You see how easy that is to layer? Very simple. I'll stick it down with my tape. And then this is third, right? Third, I'm using the Rubelite. This is kind of in between purple and pink. So I'm switching my brush to purple. I love this combination. My favorite color is blue. Okay. So I said, you know what? I did the blue one, but I said I'm gonna demo the pink because this is more, I don't know, I find it more striking than the blue one. Who's like me? What's your favorite color? Mine is blue. Put in the chat box what your favorite color is. Just curious to know. So this must be really nice to you, Tanya, because your favorite color is pink. Was Tanya the first one to say pink? Okay, the first one who said pink will get this. This one I'm making. Whoever said pink first. I have to check. Okay. So just make sure you're covering all the areas really well. Did I miss any part? As the number goes up, the smaller the area is, so it's faster to cover. This is it. Okay. So this is my third layer. See, almost there. And the fourth layer, this one, it's the same thing. You're going to go, so this is your third, right? This is your third layer. You're going to look at this tip of this petal, and then this one also of your third layer. And then you just put that over. So it's this one and this one. Let me just move my paper. Okay, these two. And then you just kind of make sure that it's covering also the other parts of the, okay. I'm just reusing my washi tape. And then there's an open space here for the center of the flower, this part. So just to make sure that you don't ink that up, what I do is I just cover it with Post-it, so I don't accidentally ink it. Okay, so for this fourth layer, I'm using, what's this? Cosmic Berry. Okay. So Cosmic Berry, same thing. This is easier because the openings are really tiny. So it's easier to ink up. Oops. Altenew has a lot of beautiful layering stencils. But when I saw this, I said, I have to share this with everyone. It's just so pretty. So be careful again, center part, because it has a lot of small parts. Okay. There. I think that's good. And then for the last coloring is this. You're going to color the center. Just line that up. Wait, let me clean this one first, because I'm just cleaning it up with water. So just line this up. There you go. Okay. And then again, I'm going to cover the side just in case. I don't want it to get dirty. Just cover it with Post-it. Just to make sure it doesn't get the black. Oops. And stick it down with your washi so it won't move. And then for the centerpiece, you can also choose to emboss it, not ink it. So all you do is just put Versamark ink, right? And then you can emboss it with gold or whatever. But for this, I'm going to use jet black ink. Just for demo purposes. So since there are small areas again, you want to be very careful. You just dab your ink. Okay. And then again from the stencil inwards. It's pretty good. Okay. So let's see the end result. Ta-da! Isn't it so pretty? Don't you love it? Okay, so what can you do with this? This particular stencil also comes with an outline. What do you call this? Hot foil. You can hot foil the outline of this beautiful flower. It comes with a hot foil die. This one. Okay. And then, so what do you do? It's so huge, right?
Everybody says it's pretty, Nat.
Oh, thanks. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. What can you do? Take a look at this part. You see that part? That was where I added some splatters of water. That area. So you really want to add those splatters for more texture in your flowers. Okay. So for this, what I did, I made I want to create an art journal. So I have one. Let me get it. I started with this one first. This is my first page for my art journal. And then it's weird, no? Pink is not my favorite color, but it's actually kind of pink. Pink. Anyway, so I'm gonna add this here. What I did with this was first I used Stencil to add an image to the background, and then I layered paper, and then what's this? I wrote a quote, and then I added stamps and some die cuts, and I added this vellum. It's on vellum, and then I just stapled it on. So that's my second page for my art journal.
Asking if it's Nina paper also.
Yes, for this one, yes, Nina. But you can use other. Anna, share the brand that you use, the local one that's available.
Yeah, actually I did. It's on the chat.
Okay.
If you guys want to check out the chat, but it's basically the Bevania. Splendorgal. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it. 270 GSM. Just make sure the GSM is the right one.
Yeah,
because that's the thick one.
Yeah, because I think if it's lower than 270, it's too thin, right?
Yes, exactly. So I think Tina asked, card bases, is it the same for the embossed paper? I just used the Bevania one for embossing. And I had no problems with cracking, even if I didn't spray it. So it's actually pretty good.
Okay.
I also shared what I use for my card bases that's available locally.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, so for the blue flowers, what I did, I just cut it up. Yes, you can cut it up.
Oh.
Or you don't want to, right? But no!
Why? After all that effort.
What you can do also is you can cut it up into two, and then you can do face to face. A card that can open this way. It's also pretty.
Great idea.
Or this is what I did. I cut it up, and then I just used all the pieces and just layered it to look like, flowers, and then just a simple sentiment stamped on black, embossed with white, white embossing powder. Very simple card, but it's so easy to make. But it's like, how did you do that? It's so easy, right?
Yeah.
Very, very, very nice layering stencil. So if you want this, you just send me a private message so I can put it in the pre-order for tomorrow. I'll be ordering tomorrow from Altenew. So let me know if you want the Golden Days simple coloring stencil set, or the one that Anna used, the stamp set that Anna used. That comes with, you can order just the stamp, or you can order the stamp, the die cut, the dies, and the stencil, whatever you want. Okay. So let me go back to my. Let's see if this is working. Miguel, can you remove the spotlight? Oh, here. Okay, it's fine. It's fine. Okay. Yay, 5:23. Yay, Anna, we did it.
I know. I'm so happy we were within
Yeah.
the time frame.
Correct. Okay, so since this is the first ever Crafty Saturdays with My Little Attic, we have a giveaway. Actually, we have 9 giveaways.
Wow.
Three of those were sponsored by Shine Asuncion. Thank you so. She's not here because it's like 4 a.m. there. But thank you so much, Shine. She sponsored 3. What do you call this? Bottles of the Cleaner Project. Okay, this is a stamp cleaner with moisturizer. And you know what's so great about this? It's made here in the Philippines by, is she here? Val? Is Val here? Val, is Val here? She texted she's driving. I don't know if she's in here. She's here. So I wanted to try it out, and it works beautifully with dye inks and pigment inks. And it doesn't have this, sometimes the smell of it has this weird smell. I don't like the smell of, this smells really, really, really nice. So we have 3 of those to give away, and the rest are Altenew products. Okay, so let me see if I can go to does it also smell like bubblegum? Similar to bubblegum, yeah. It smells good. Okay, let me move to there you go. Okay, we're only going to give it to those who are here, okay? Okay, I'm going to spin. Can I see your beautiful faces so we can take a picture of everyone? There. Thank you so much, everyone. Makes you take a picture for coming, for joining us for this first ever Crafty Saturday.
Thank you also, Nanette.
I hope you can join us. This will be happening every last Saturday of the month. So it's free. If you're free, kindly join us for more Crafty Saturdays. It will just be like 2 hours maximum, from 4 to 6 every last Saturday of the month. Lala, thank you for all your help, also for your technical help. I was so stressed out a while ago. Talagang it wasn't meant to be kasi we tried doing the parang putting up a channel in YouTube and it says, congratulations, you can start streaming in 24 hours. so
So 24 hours.
So after
Okay.
tomorrow.
Okay, but at least, di ba, next time,
Yes,
YouTube na tayo.
Thank you so much.
Well, very welcome,
for your
Ned.
help. And for coming, everybody, thank you so much. Anna, thank you. I
You're
know
welcome. Thank you for having me.
you're so really busy and you're preoccupied with so many things, but I really appreciate you coming.
This is a welcome distraction.
Okay, so to everybody, I will be featuring all of the design team members in future classes. And if there's anything you want to learn or you want us to demo, just send me a private message. For any pre-orders, send me a private message, and for anything else, just let me know. Okay. Screenshot, Miguel. Can you take a picture of everyone, please?
First thing.
First. I'm sorry.
Okay. Screenshot. 1, 2, 3. Wait a second. 1, 2. Why is it not working? I'm sorry. You have to press Command Shift 3.
Command Shift 3. Okay. 1, 2. That's it. Thanks.
Okay.
One more.
And then there's only one page.
Okay. Again. Command Shift again. Smile,
3.
everyone. Okay. Thank you for coming. We'll see you.
Thank you.
Next month.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.